we received a cryptic and confusing message at City Hall. The message was telling people to report to DHS on Saturday and Sunday between 8 and 4 p.m. to check in. Failure to report would be considered a violation. So when I got that message, I immediately forwarded it to the Tukwila police, who tried to confirm the validity of the message. And when they could not, they forwarded a message that you might have seen on social media Friday night, that they were unable to confirm the validity of the text or the message. We had no communication as a city with either DHS or ICE that anything was planned. On Saturday, a protest took place at the Department of Homeland Security building on Tukwila International Boulevard. Tukwila officers monitored the situation at the DHS facility to ensure that everything was safe. The facility was, in fact, open, and the notification reported in the post appeared to be valid as individuals began showing up as requested, along with protesters around 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Overall, the protest was peaceful. The protesters stayed on the grass and sidewalk and were about 75 in number until around noon, when those numbers went up in size. Starting at noon, individuals wearing all black with helmets, goggles, and face masks, wearing backpacks that appeared to be weighted down, began to form at the entrance and exit drives of the facility. During the following several hours, the group began to erect a large barricade spanning across the entirety of the South Drive to the DHS facility. The makeshift barricade included numerous street signs, garbage cans, picnic tables, all tied together. DHS personnel, including non-enforcement staff, were unable to leave the property safely. Members of the Tukwila PD Civil Disturbance Unit, CDU, were called to the area to stage for potential issues. Before 2 p.m., the DHS leadership requested assistance as they were barricaded in their building and intended to evacuate personnel as they determined it was best to cease operations for the day. Tukwila PD and the CDU was requested to contact the protesters blocking the south exit and clearing up space so federal employee vehicles could safely exit the premise. At 3 p.m., Tukwila CDU arrived at the south exit of the DHS building. Numerous PA statements were made by a trained team member relaying our legal authority, outlining consequences, and repeatedly requesting that the protesters allow the vehicles to safely leave the area. Many complied with the lawful orders, but several determined individuals stayed. As Tukwila CDU began to clear the barricade while still giving lawful orders to disperse, they were met with resistance in the form of being struck by frozen water bottles, by no parking signs that had been part of the barricade, and other items. Due to the dangerous and assaultive actions by the remaining individuals, Tukwila CDU deployed pepper spray and pepper balls to successfully clear the drive with assistance from DHS personnel from the other side. Some media outlets have claimed that Tukwila used tear gas, and flashbangs and pepper balls, and they showed photos of the incident. But while Tukwila officers did use limited pepper balls, Tukwila PD did not use tear gas or flashbangs. Several of the photos circulating in the media and on social media were not of Tukwila officers, but federal agents on the other side of the building. As per Tukwila policy, or Tukwila police policy, and standard practice after every use of force, the department is reviewing video footage from the officers' body-worn cameras to determine that the officers' use of force was within policy and to collect evidence of the actions of the protesters. It was determined today that Tukwila PD actively engaged with protesters. This is after they had arrived, they kind of got set up. Their active engagement with protesters was 12 minutes. Then they began leaving the scene. Let me close with a couple comments, and then we're going to move into public comments. I understand that there might be strong opinions and questions regarding what took place on Saturday. I want to assure you that the Chief of Police and I are committed to full transparency regarding the events on Saturday. And what I have initially seen, the protest was largely peaceful, and I do support the right to gather and to protest safely. And Tukwila police used minimum force to evacuate people being barricaded inside of a property a clear violation of state law. Protesters were allowed to remain after DHS had evacuated the building. They even gathered on Sunday and had a full day of protesting with no incidences. I want to reiterate that, like all Washington State Police Departments, Tukwila PD does not participate or assist with enforcement of federal immigration policy. Tukwila CDU's assistance was narrow and limited in focus to preserve everyone's lawful right to protest while also ensuring a safe egress for federal employees who were trapped inside the building. Finally, I want to express my appreciation to the Tukwila officers who responded on Saturday to a difficult situation. The officers acted as they were trained, with poise and respect for all involved. The officers used limited force, maintained safety for DHS employees, evacuating the property, the protesters, and their fellow officers, while protesting people's right to assemble, or while protecting people's right to assemble.